Hi there, it's Steve's Model Railroad Build, and I'm back after a bit of a break, and we've got three things to celebrate today. First thing is, one of the reasons I took a break was because we moved into a new home, well, new old home, and we've been getting settled and everything, and I've got the train room started. We'll see more of that in future episodes. Speaking of episodes, I made a few before. I think it was 8 or 9. Some of them were okay. Some of them were pretty lame and boring. Uh, so I'm going to start off a bit fresh today. And the other thing I have to celebrate is my first subscriber. Yay! Human City Junction, who I ran across at a chat with on Tom's Trains and Things on their Monday night live stream. Great show, always a lot of fun. If you haven't already, check out Tom's Trains, and he runs a good show. Yeah. So yeah. So new house, first subscriber, and now what was the third thing? I'll think of it later. Oh yes, I've also obtained an N scale set, the Bachman, Durango and Silverton set, N scale, nickel silver rail, very nice. I have a plan for it. It's going to be on the upper level, and yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. The HO build is going to come along as well, and I've got models for both, and we'll have a lot of fun with that as time goes by. So today I was going to talk about knives and sharpies, not the pens, but sharps, uh, things that cut, mostly knives. When you're entering a hobby like this, you're going to be dealing with a lot of knives, cutting instruments, along with other tools, and it's very important to learn the basics of how to safely use your knives so you don't hurt yourself or someone else. I said it in a previous video, this is just my opinion. Children between the ages of 8 and 11 should probably be very closely supervised when using sharp knives by someone who knows what they're doing. After the age of 11, of course, it's always up to parents and guardians. After the age of 11, most kids can probably handle most of the cutting instruments safely that are required for a hobby. And so, anyways, without further ado, we're going to start with you'll see this a lot. This is what they call ubiquitous. This is an X-Acto knife. See that? X-Acto. X-Acto has been a top name in hobby knives for years. The blades are extremely sharp. Maybe you can see how sharp that is. Sometimes in Europe they call these scalpels. Technically it's not a scalpel. A scalpel is one piece always. But in any case, it comes in two parts. There's the blade. There we go. And of course that's replaceable. You can get replacements on that. There's different sizes. This is one of the smaller ones. And then there's the blade housing. And it just slips in there. Ta-da! And then you carefully wind it up. Always hold it at the back of the blade. Don't do that. There you go. Okay, so you always want to be careful and safe with your knife. You want to really avoid pointing it towards you for any reason, or getting it across any appendages. You want to work carefully. Don't worry about how fast you're going. If you want speed, that'll come later. So unless you want to get nicknamed Lefty, be careful with your knives. And when you're not using your knife, you put it back in its guard if there is one. You put it down on your cutting board. Okay. This mat is great. I got it. It was part of a nice Gundam tool set. It's a Japanese company, and check it out. It's great. It has knives in it. It has files, emery boards, sharpening stones, just everything you'd want. So check it out. I got mine from Amazon. It was a great price. I'm really happy with it. You'll need a cutting mat or some sort of cutting surface. Your mom or your wife or husband probably wouldn't appreciate it if you cut up the dining room table or the kitchen table for that matter. So this one I bought at Michael's. You know, they're reasonable. You can buy a set or buy individual, whatever you want. This one came with the Gundam set. It's almost the same, almost exactly the same size blade, nice blue color, but not branded Exacto. So I already had the Exacto, so that's why this is still in plastic. Okay. Next in the Gundam set is one of these. Basically the same thing, just a small utility style knife with the break-off blades. Again, when you're working with this kind of blade, when you're not using it, you retract it, put it down on the board. Okay? It's not in your hand, it's on the board. Okay? And always retract. Okay? I know it can be a bit of a pain, but after a while you just do it automatically. It's no big deal. So those are the little guys. You know, some people might say, well, those aren't knives. No, this is a knife, if you remember that movie. Anyways, but all the principles are the same, okay? Whether you're dealing with a chef's knife like this, a paring knife, or these kind of knives. It's all the same stuff. Safety first, always. In the Gundam thing, this came as well. This would be really handy. It's kind of a cleaver style. So if you got to get at something, you know, from the top down, that's going to give you a nice smooth cut right there. Okay. I've used it. It's back in the plastic, but I've used it. It's handy. Other things separate. Utility knife. You get these in a pack of 3 at the dollar store or whatever. Okay. Same rule. Retract on the mat if not in your hands. Okay. Again, in the Gundam kit, got these little snippers. These are great for snipping off the plastic parts if you've purchased plastic models. And they're also good for rail cutters. If you're laying your own track, if you're not using Easy Track or something that has a built-in road bed, this is the tool to use. And then just a little bit of filing and sanding, and you've got a good connection right there. So, and the other thing I mentioned, I brought up at one point, I had picked up one of these, you know, super cheap. It's got a nice pair of curved scissors, some snippers, tweezers, and you've got these little manipulating tools and a file. So heck, I mean, you can use that for your stuff too. Okay. Okay, so the 3 basic rules for working with your knives: never point it at yourself or others, and if it's not in your hand, it's on your mat. And always, always, always go slowly, and never get your fingers between the knife and your cutting surface. Alright? I should mention too, your cutting surface is important. You want something that's not going to slip. And depending on the use, again, this came in the Gundam. It's not going to slip, and it's two-sided. Isn't that great? So once this side gets all carved up, then you can just flip it over. Yeah. So there you go. All right, and of course it's got a great grid on it. these are available all over the place. But that kit was very reasonably priced and has all kinds of stuff in it. So we might go over that again in a later tool show, but that's it for today. So safety first always. If you're younger, work with supervision that knows what they're doing. And parents and guardians, give your kids give your kids a little bit of room. As I said, they can start learning by the age of 8, maybe even sooner if they're really talented. So just be careful and make sure that you're teaching them the right tool to use depending on the situation. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks so much again to Human City Junction for subscribing to my channel. The earlier videos, you're welcome to watch them if you're having trouble sleeping. They were pretty lame, but some of them were alright. So I'm going to improve on that. Next up, I'm going to go over a nice N-scale faller kit of a sawmill. And so that'll be a lot of fun. Okay, so thanks to those who might join me, and hope you'll look forward to the next episode coming along shortly.